Hello everybody, this is Julian from the Draft Lives here. This is going to be my first long form video. Very interesting, very fun. So for the first video that I wanted to post on this channel, it's going to coincide with what I write on Twitter. Follow me there under the same name. We're going to be doing a mock draft here. So with my background in draft and football, I really wanted to do a mock draft. I post one every week on Twitter, and I want to get comfortable with, if I want to get comfortable in front of a camera doing long form content, let's do something I'm used to, something I love to talk about. And this coming off the heels of the Texans Chiefs game. That's when I'm recording. Sunday Night Football. That's when I'm recording this. I didn't think the Monday Night Football game was worth waiting for regarding the draft order. Uh, Eagles and Chargers. There's not one that's going to be like a fun drop. They have good records, and it's a negligible amount of droppage for the loser there. So we're going to do this. Pick one is an obvious trade down spot, but there's no trades in this draft, and it is a predictive mock, so I'm kind of pigeonholing myself into certain picks. But we'll start. The Giants don't need a QB or receiver or running back. They really need a DB, but we're not going DB at number one. If this were to happen, they're going Carnell Tate. He's been fantastic this season. A lot of people like him or Jordan Tyson as the receiver one. Jordan Tyson's injuries are scary for a top five pick. Even if the Giants were to trade down here with the Jets, Cardinals, or Rams, let's say, it would be difficult to take a Jordan Tyson over Carnell Tate. So we'll go with Carnell Tate. He's just been great this year. Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1A and B with Jeremiah Smith, and he could continue dominating at the next level, paired up with Malik Neighbors, and Jackson Dart has been a surprise as a rookie. So I think this would be the best way to go. If there's a trade down, let's say, I think they still go receiver or Caleb Downs if he were to drop. With the second pick, the Raiders obviously need a QB. Geno Smith hasn't been great, but everyone there, they need to clean house. Pete Carroll needs to go. They already fired their offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator. We'll go for Fernando Mendoza. This is a fundamental QB, very smart. He went to Cal Berkeley to play some football, and the steady improvement he's shown in all facets of his game, whether it's accuracy, footwork. He's got a little bit of juice in those legs too. Uh, 33 touchdowns. He's been very good. He's been smart with the football, and I think his arm is pretty underrated. Obviously, he's not some Mahomes type of player, but he's got a good arm like C.J. Stroud or Bo Nix, and we see the success those guys have had early on in their NFL careers. Do I think he'll start right away with the Raiders? Probably. I don't think Geno Smith would be on that roster. Maybe they bring in a veteran to maybe take off the stress for the first few games, but Fernando Mendoza will be the first QB off the board. Then we go with the Titans, coming off the Browns win. They don't need a QB as well. They need edge rusher primarily, maybe corner. We'll go. So I was thinking about Ruben Bain this entire time. I will go Arvell Reese. I think he's going to test off the charts, but he's not my edge number one. Ruben Bain is a fantastic player. Arvell Reese is more that, you want that athletic like Micah Parsons or Abdul Carter type of player. He just hasn't played enough edge rusher in his career. Snaps by alignment by PFF is great. 300 edge rusher snaps and 250 box snaps. And this is a QB spy type of player. I think he's still great, but you're not drafting him to play off ball linebacker at the third pick. He will play edge rusher. I'm not sure how that translation will go as a pass rusher early on, but he's a great run stopper. So at least you have that in the early stages of his career. And then the Browns. Shedeur Sanders is a very good player. I don't think it's necessary to take QB here. I think Stefanski and him are just not. Stefanski's probably fired, and him and Stefanski are not on the same page. Often he's taken off the field for game clinching 2-point conversions. You could try and build around Shedeur Sanders, or they still have Deshaun Watson. Yeah, he cannot be cut. Sorry to you Browns fans. He's on the roster next year 100%. So let's try and build around whatever QB you throw out there, and this is going to be either offensive line or receiver. I will go Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon is a very fundamental receiver as well. A lot of fundamental players in this class rather than pure athletes like we've seen in the past. This isn't a guy that will explode, blow up the 40-yard dash, make heads turn at the combine. Very fundamental player, strong hands, good at the catch point for someone that's only 5'11", and great routes. And he's very productive. He has over 1,100 receiving yards this year, and he's a true junior, I believe. A young player, good player, reminds me a lot of Emeka Egbuka. Not the flashiest receiver, but very, very good. And him and Jerry Jeudy can actually make some waves. And Cedric Tillman when healthy. They also have Isaiah Bond. That could be a solid receiver room. And the Browns do have a second first round pick in this class. Then the New Orleans Saints, another situation where your young rookie QB is doing. Well, I say young. Tyler Shuck's pretty old for a rookie, but he's impressing me more than more than I thought. I had a 4th round grade on him. He went in second. Everyone laughed at it. He's a pretty solid player. So definitely not going to go QB here. We could try and build on the offense. They do need receiver, but in this situation, likely your top 2 receivers are off the board. They could go Jordan Tyson. I don't love the fit in that offense. So I'm going to go and continue building on the defense for them. They have a great defense already. And Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain is my top edge rusher, as I said. What a great player. His PFF grade is off the charts. 7 sacks, 48 hurries registered. Um, Pair him with Chase Young, and there's going to be big problems for opposing QBs and offensive lines. This is someone you game plan around, and Chase Young is having a career revival / breakout year. If you pair those two together, things will be scary for teams that you face. And defense wins championships, and they have multiple other picks that they can help build around Tyler Shuck and maybe an offensive lineman, a receiver, running back. So I really like this pick. Like I said, predictive mock. Obviously, they can go in a different way. Mickey Loomis has all sorts of ideas going on in his head. But it's hard to pass up on Ruben Bain for any football fan or any football mind. I'm sure the Commanders would have loved Ruben Bain, but they'll go Caleb Downs. You're not really settling for Caleb Downs. He's a fantastic player. They've kind of played him as a box safety his entire career, whether it was at Alabama or Ohio State. Look at the amount of snaps played. He's a very good player, very athletic, but I don't know how much he'll succeed at the early stages of his career as a deep safety, deep thirds. He'll play a lot of box to start, especially what the Washington Dan Quinn requires from his defense. But I think he's just an all-around great player. Can play slot corner, overhang. He can play linebacker. He can stop the run. He's beaten offensive tackles to the mesh point. He's a great player, and no, he's not as valuable as a position as someone like Ruben Bain or a QB, a receiver, someone that's flashy, but he will make an immediate impact. And Washington's defense is decimated. They have injured corners, injured players all over the board, just bad players too, old players. This is a necessary pick. Might not be everyone's favorite pick. This is a necessary pick. Caleb Downs is a great player, anyways. Now we have the New York Jets. What a bad football team. I think Aaron Glenn brings good energy. I don't think he's the right head coach for this team, but they will not be firing him. They do need QB. Justin Fields' experiment has failed. Tyrod Taylor is very old, not a franchise guy. So we will be stealing Dante Moore. Dante Moore has been improving steadily each week. Started as a freshman at UCLA, was not great. Sat behind Dylan Gabriel last year, learned the playbook. I kind of struggled early on. His big game against Indiana, that's a very good defense. He didn't do great. Um, but the Jets really need a QB, and that's my QB2. Ty Simpson, we'll see if he declares. I think Dante Moore should declare, and I think he will declare. So that's the pick here. Cardinals, it'll be Jordan Tyson. I mean, Arizona State connection. Michael Wilson has been doing great as the receiver one. Marvin Harrison, jury's still out on what he can do at the NFL level. He's not a great separator, a great route runner. Bring in Jordan Tyson, and then you have a combo of 3 receivers that whoever's throwing to, it'll be tough to miss him. Got a good catch radius in Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson. Then you have a good route runner who's just a super juiced athlete in Jordan Tyson as well. Injuries are a concern with him, but he's worth the pick. You know, when you're in that eighth pick, ninth pick, this is a scenario where I can see him go, and you're definitely happy with the player. You just gotta hope he's healthy. Los Angeles Rams have been on a tear. I mean, the Falcons, that Falcons trade, maybe I can do a separate video on it. Could talk about the logistics of it, but it's not looking great for the Falcons right now. The Rams are laughing to the bank. So this is a. I don't think Jermod McCoy will declare for this class, and if he does, this might be the pick. But for now, I'll go Mansour Delane. So regardless, Mansour Delane is my corner one. He's just had a heck of a year. I mean, a 26 passer rating when targeted, steady improvement every year that he's played, and then transferring in to LSU when LSU has a bad year, he's a standout player. So I think this is a great pick, and I'm sure the Bengals are not too happy about it. This team is just in such a bad spot. Shamar Stewart's injured and wasn't great. I think we do need to protect Joe Burrow. Defense is bad, but for me, it's either David Bailey or this pick. I'm going to go with Francis Mauigoa. Very good player. He could play tackle, or a lot of people project him to guard with his limited athleticism. He's a good player, not the longest arms, but a very good anchor at 6'6", 315. Once he gets you in that phone booth, you're not getting away from him. He will maul you in the run game, and he has very good feet and very good eyes in the pass blocking game. So I think protecting Joe Burrow should be priority number one, and they'll probably make some splash moves on defense in the offseason. Minnesota Vikings here. Um, one of the teams that does need QB. They need a veteran QB. Um, I think we'll go Jeremiah Love because they do need running back. It's not obviously not the premium position that you're looking for, receiver, corner, edge rusher, but outside of offensive tackle and corner, and we just took my corner one. I don't know if I'm going to put McCoy this high with his torn ACL. Jeremiah Love is a game changer. Sucks we won't see him in the college football playoff, but he's shown plenty over the last few years at Notre Dame. I mean, what a star! This guy's a fantastic football player, and he does deserve to go top 10. I'll probably finish with him as a top 5 player in the class. I broke him down recently on my Twitter if you want to go check that out. That's my favorite team. Fins up. What a train wreck this team is. Ty Simpson would probably, wow, they dropped him. They really dropped him in these rankings. If I'm the GM, I might go Ty Simpson here. It's time to move on from Tua Tagovailoa. It's not looking good. That McDaniel barely trusts him to throw the football on 3rd down and 6. Oh, Sonny Styles, I really didn't think of this. I will be going with Casey Conception. Maybe a month ago, I was thinking Casey Conception will go back to school and be the wide receiver 1A, 1B with Jeremiah Smith next class. But no, he's actually he's had a great last few games. That Texas game was very good, and then the Missouri game was also very good. I think he's a very good player. Kind of reminds me of Jalen Waddle with the play style, but a little bit more physical at the catch point. I think if you could get the ball into his hands, it's a lot of good things would happen. Fireworks, as Coach Jonathan Gannon would say. The Baltimore Ravens have been not looking good. They're playing an injured Lamar behind a horrible offensive line. Defense is okay, but you would think maybe edge rusher, and I will go edge rusher because I think David Bailey's such an underrated player. Obviously, the sacks are what you see first, but people want to harp on him for his run stopping ability. A little bit undersized, but he's a solid run stopper because of his technique and his athleticism to get to the stuff point. So we'll get David Bailey here. It's a good pick for the Ravens. I mean, they need defense, and we'll see what they do in the offseason if Harbaugh stays and what type of moves they make. Todd Monken's also a head coaching candidate, so the Chiefs look really bad. They signed Noah Gray to an extension, and that might be the worst tight end in football. Maybe behind Travis Kelce, who's had a very tough year, but when you're 36 years old, I mean, he's taken a lot of hits in his career. I don't expect him to be great on defense. Really, it's just Chris Jones and that linebacking group against the world. I would love to go safety or something like DB, but without Caleb Downs, I can't really justify it. No Jeremiah Love, no protection for Patrick Mahomes, and they're on offense. Like, do they really have a pass catcher I love? I don't really love their pass catchers. I mean, Rashee Rice, they use Rashee Rice the same way they should use Xavier Worthy, and they use Xavier Worthy as just like a decoy. He barely gets the ball. So this is someone that's a little bit tougher to pick for. And in the end, I will go Denzel Boston. So I'm a big fan of Denzel Boston. I do have him as my wide receiver 1 in this class. Very fundamental receiver, very athletic though, and not great after the run, but that's not what the Chiefs need. They need someone who will get open and catch the ball. Reminds me a lot of Drake London without like the super athletic one-handed grabs and whatever Drake London had at USC. Denzel Boston's kind of what Drake London is in the NFL. I love Denzel Boston. I think he's a great fit, and we'll move on to the Cowboys, who have 2 first-round picks. Very fun, very fun team. They're improving every week. Struggle sometime on offense. George Pickens had a bad game, but we'll go into this with the mindset that George Pickens was extended. And the first thing we'll do is take linebacker Sonny Styles. I'm sure the Panthers are mad about that. Sonny Styles has been a fantastic player. That's a top 10 player in the class right here. When it comes down to the Cowboys, DeMarvin Overshown's great, but he's been injured. And once he comes back, he's great. They trade for Logan Wilson, who plays behind Kenneth Murray, and Kenneth Murray is probably every Cowboys fan's least favorite player on the team. He's not great in coverage. He's made a few splash plays, but one of those where it's like he's not good at anything. Not a great tackler, not a good run stopper, and a liability in coverage. But he'll pick off a tip ball or force a fumble. Sonny Styles will instantly come in and be that stud on the defense. Probably wear the green dot, and he's just fantastic. When you see his PFF grade, yeah, lines up everywhere. He could play overhang as well. We're going to talk about the box, the slot corner. He can play in the overhang. Onto the Panthers. This is a team that, one of the most inconsistent teams I've ever seen. Panthers are a fun team to watch, and they have Teteroy McMillan, who's been fun. A lot of good rookies, very good draft classes. Bryce Young's inconsistent. They also need linebacker. I'm not sure if there's a linebacker worth taking or just a... No, not really. So then we will go into the offense. I don't love Vega. I own in the system. I will go Jennings Dunker. Jennings Dunker is a tackle who's not great in pass protection due to his length and athleticism. This is a guy that could play center for you or offensive guard. 6'5", 315. Iowa breeds run blockers. Great running system. They barely throw the ball even when they have a QB capable of it. So with that, you take Jennings Dunker, you can move him into left guard or center, and this will be again one of the better offensive lines in the league. And if Taylor Moton gets injured or something, Jennings Dunker could go and slide in at right tackle or left tackle. Up to the Lions, who are having a disappointing year considering the standards. And they're finally primarily healthy, and with Aiden Hutchinson back and everything. But on the offensive line, they're not as healthy as they were last year. Frank Ragnow came out of retirement just to find out he had a hamstring falling off the bone. So it's not a great situation. I will probably go corner here. Avion Terrell in this. This is a guy you want. They kind of whiffed on Terrion Arnold. I'm not sure if that's a great scenario. Their offense needs some help too. Jared Goff, I mean, he's having a down year as well. I will go Avion Terrell, a good player, good coverage player who's kind of been playing better as the season went on after a disappointing start. Still a very good player because Clemson in general, I mean, Peter Woods had a bad year. TJ Parker picked it up towards the second half of the year. So did Avion Terrell. I'll go with him. Line him up anywhere on the field. Terrion Arnold, I'm not sure if he'll even start week 1 next year. And DJ Reed has been very bad. So yeah, Avion Terrell is, I think they'll kind of go corner. Obviously, McCoy's the better player, but Avion Terrell fits the system well. A good man coverage player, a good zone coverage player, and they do run a lot of man and zone, kind of a good mix, kind of what Aaron Glenn was good at, but obviously it's Kelvin Shepard now. A lot more blitzing man coverage because they couldn't get to the QB. With the Jets, so obviously we took Dante Moore. I like the receivers. Garrett Wilson and Adonai Mitchell are a good duo, and then John Mechie, he's struggling with drops the last few games, but he can stay there. He'll be good. They really do need someone to cover receivers. I think Chris Johnson and Jermod McCoy. I will go Jermod McCoy here. It's an interesting dynamic with the injury, and if Will Johnson, who's a top 5 player in the last class, he does not go in the top 30. He went in the second round to the Cardinals. What is the projection for Jermod McCoy? I think he had great tape last year, but the fact you don't play an entire year with that torn ACL, that injury, it's scary. And I'm not going to project. I'm not going to pretend. Listen, if he goes back to school or if there's something at the combine where he's injured, this pick would have been Chris Johnson, who's had a fantastic year at San Diego State. Primarily zone player, but could play some off man and good size for a corner, very physical. So I'll just leave it at that. And then we get to the Steelers, who desperately need something on offense. Jeremy Bernard. I have a 3rd round grade on Jeremy Bernard, but he had a very good game, and it's kind of what they've been looking for. Okay, I will go Jeremy Bernard. I don't think he's a 1st round talent, but when it comes down to once you start getting in these 20s range, it really relies on the coaching staff's vision of you in the offense and the scheme fit and the type of person you are, the type of player you are. I think Jeremy Bernard checks a lot of boxes. He's a good run after catch type of guy. He's had a few good. He's got great size for the position. 6'1", 6'1". Like he's like a Deebo Samuel type of player. Him and Chris Bell are very like Deebo Samuel esque for this class. And I think whoever you have throwing the ball next year, whether it's Will Howard or someone like Kyler Murray, I think that they could really benefit from a DK Metcalf and Jeremy Bernard. You can move around, play him in the slot, play him on the outside. Here we are to the Buccaneers. Now, I don't want to spoil my tight end grades, but there's a reason Kenyon Sadiq is still on the board. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I do think that he'll be taken here soon. First, we'll go Michael Trigg. Michael Trigg is from Tampa Bay. Very good player. Apparently, some off-field issues. I'm not going to deal with that. I don't grade off-field issues. I think if everything checks out, there's a super slot. Very steady hands, very great at the catch point. Had a kind of a breakout year after some injuries and off-field issues at his previous school. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Trigg. I think bringing him home is a good story, and Tampa Bay desperately needs a tight end. K. Dalton is not a good player. Offensive line's banged up. Baker's banged up. And when it comes down to it, this is that extra piece on offense with Mike Evans being like a question mark heading into next year and Godwin always injured. This is that type of player you could play in the slot, you could play him on the outside, or you could play him in line. He's just not the best blocker, and you deal with that as it comes. You have plenty of good blocking tight ends that you can slot into that position. Here we are with the Texans. the best defense in the league. This is obviously not going to be defense. This will be on the offensive line. I just have to decide if I'm replacing Ed Ingram, who had a good start to the year, or if we're getting a tackle to replace. Listen, you draft Ariante Ursary. He's not having a good rookie year. Previously, you draft Blake Fisher in the second or third round. He's not having a good year either. And then he gets benched for Trent Brown. I will go Spencer Fano. I think he does have the versatility to play guard. In the perfect universe, he could play guard or tackle. This is a right tackle though. You have him compete with Blake Fisher. The loser gets benched, or Fano. I think he projects well enough at guard that you could bench Ed Ingram in a pinch. Up to the Chargers, who are also having a struggle across the offensive line. I'm going to go Vega, Ione. I mean, Chargers have not been getting it right on the offensive line since the Philip Rivers days. You draft Zion Johnson, who's very below, like I'll say average to below average. You draft Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, who are both very injured. Recently, Joe Alt's had a plethora of injuries, and Rashawn Slater, what was it, his ACL or Achilles out for the season. So Vega Ione can play guard. The very good guard, good pass blocking guard, which is what you kind of need in that offense for Justin Herbert. But he can run block. He played left guard primarily. Slot him in right away. To the Eagles, Eagles are having a tough year. Jalen Hurts he looks. 2 years ago, Jalen Hurts was injured. He injured his knee, and he was not playing his best football. Now Jalen Hurts looks that same way. I don't know if he's injured, if they're hiding something from us, or he's just regressed after the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's not going to be QB. I think they will go receiver. I'm not sure if AJ Brown's on that roster. I think AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson will be a Buffalo Bill in the coming season. But we will go Omar Cooper. Omar Cooper is very good. I'm very high on Omar Cooper. I think the NFL will be very high on Omar Cooper. He's lightning in a bottle, very good. He's played primarily slot, but he has the size and the chops to play on the outside, probably Z. Um, Him and Devontae Smith would be a great duo. And if you have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, well, Omar Cooper slots in as your third receiver and probably eclipses 1,000 yards, and you just go pass heavy with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is still capable of playing football at a high level. This will be my favorite fit in the offense. Yeah, I know they need defensive back. I'm not sure that I love Chris Johnson for this team because they have been playing a decent amount of man, which is why Cooper DeJean is struggling. Chris Johnson, as I said, is primarily zone corner. Chicago Bears just lost that top seed in the NFC to the division rival Packers. Not a great look. I don't think I want to go offensive line, even though it's not really on one person per se. So I'm probably going to go safety here. I will go AJ Halsey. AJ Halsey is a very good player. I'm not sure if he's a first round type of player, but like I said, when it comes down to these 20s picks, comes down to scheme fit and the type of player you are. I think he's got great attitude. I think he thumps really hard for his size. I mean, 222 is good, but he's only 6 foot tall. Really good form tackler as well. Great coverage skills and another breakout year on a bad LSU team. Another great defensive player. So I'm going to go AJ Halsey. Bears need defensive backs. This works out well. Another team that needs defensive backs, but also receiver, also edge rusher. We'll assume that, I mean, this might not even be their pick come April. Like I said, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown. I will go Romello Height. Romello Height has had a breakout year. I think I'll finish with a higher grade on Romello Height than David Bailey. He's just been awesome, man. He can stop the run a little bit better. He's also been a very efficient pass rusher coming over from Georgia Tech. Very undersized. But when it comes down to it, you have Gregory Rousseau on one side, who's kind of that like number one edge you have. Epenesa's rotational player if they even have him on the team next year. Romello Height, good player, good pass rusher, good run stopper. Undersized, doesn't matter. That natural leverage that he'll have, I think it'll work fine in the NFL. And he's got great technique as well, so I'm not too worried about that. And then another injury-prone team that, the fact that they're even here is just a great testament to that coaching staff. They took Michael Williams. They have Bryce Huff. What they don't have is great depth at receiver. Juwan Jennings wants a new contract. Brandon Ayuk's probably out of there. They have Ricky Pearsall. I'll go Elijah Surratt. I mean, we saw him play against Ohio State. Very good at the back shoulder ball. Very good route runner. And he's not sneaky athletic, but he's not like a 4.4 runner. Probably in the low 4.5s. But once he gets the ball in his hand, he's got great acceleration. So I think a player like this works well with Ricky Pearsall. You can align him pretty much anywhere on the field. And he's got great size. He'll be a red zone threat. He's kind of like a very upgraded version of Juwan Jennings, who you might not have on the roster next year. All right, Cleveland Browns. They already took Makai Lemon. Could go defense here, but that offensive line, they just probably lost Ethan Pochich for the year. I would like someone. that could play tackle or guard. I'm a big fan of Isaiah World. I'm gonna go Austin Searveld. This is the guy that could play tackle and guard. He was originally a guard last year for Ohio State, and he's played all his snaps at left tackle this year. Good. He's got a nasty streak, an underrated nasty streak when it comes to run blocking. That's why he was obviously a guard, successful at guard as well. The athleticism and the length is kind of comes in question. So they might not even stick him at tackle. This is a team that might have 4 starters that are new from this year on the offensive line. Anything to protect your potential franchise QB, whether it's Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, or Shedeur Sanders, helps you run the ball. Is kind of what you need. Your defense is great. You have Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett alone, 11 Myles Garrett's might be the best defense of the league. Play him at corner. So yeah, you need to help your offense, and what better way than a versatile offensive line piece? Dallas Cowboys. We already picked Sonny Styles. I might go tackle here because they've had some bad, like, obviously they've gone offensive line first round 2 straight years with Tyler Guyton and Tyler Booker, but it's not working out great with Tyler Guyton, who's been injured, and their other tackle Terrence Steele, even though on a decent contract. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure I'm glad to replace him here with any of these players. It would be Carter Smith, but then you have the issue of moving one of him or Guyton to the right side. I know Guyton has experience there, but we'll probably just double up here and go defensive back. This is where Chris Johnson's going to go. They play enough zone under Eberflus to warrant this pick. I think with him getting invited to the Senior Bowl, there's a high chance he can accept that. And if he plays well in the one-on-ones, I mean, this can be as high as a top 15 pick because he's great at zone. He's a good tackler. He's physical at the catch point. If he could play man as well and stick with receivers that are going to be at the Senior Bowl in one-on-one, he has to play in the slot. He'll have to play outside. He'll have game situations. I think there's a high chance Chris Johnson goes higher. But if the Cowboys get him here, that is a steal. And we'll go to the Seattle Seahawks, who have struggled with Anthony Bradford, who's not a great player. Is there someone I'm willing to take to replace Anthony Bradford? We'll go Caden McDonald here. When you think of the Seahawks, you don't think that they need defensive line, but the fact you'd be able to stack up Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, and Caden McDonald, as great as Leonard Williams is, he's probably got maybe 1 or 2 more years before he wants a new contract or hits free agency. He's getting up there in age. Caden McDonald is a versatile piece that can stop the run, whether it's in the 1, the 2, or the 3. He's a star. Every week you turn on the Ohio State tape. I mean, you don't really see this grade from PFF for a run stopper. This is just that stopgap player that you don't really move. He's not even that heavy. Okay, well, 326. He's very heavy, but he's not that heavy for that typical, like, he doesn't move like he's a 400-pound space eater like someone like T'Vondre Sweat. Very, very good player, and I think Mike Macdonald would love to have this guy that he can line up anywhere and just know that the run will be stopped. You can have a fourth grader at linebacker, and it won't matter. The running back's not getting there. New England Patriots. You would think maybe offensive line. It's going to be edge rusher here. They kind of got rid of this Keldrick Falk-esque player. They got rid of him. They traded Keon White. So Cassius Howell had a bad game against kind of his only. Quincy Rhodes went back to school. Kind of his only competition. Cassius Howell had a tough game. T.J. Parker, he's improved. I will go T.J. Parker here for the Patriots. I mean, this is a steal if T.J. Parker even declares. I like his game, a little bit undersized, but like I said, he picked it up towards the second half of the season, and the Patriots do need that second pass rusher, whether it's K'Lavon Chaisson or T.J. Parker. I think this pick fits Mike Vrabel's defense well. The Los Angeles Rams, we went Mansour Delane. Here is where Kenyon Sidi goes off the board. You don't think of the Rams needing a receiver, but I think they would benefit from an extra receiver. Puka Nacua cannot do it all on his own, and Davante Adams is getting up there in age, kind of like a touchdown-only type of player this year. Kind of gets open against zone and his man coverage in shorter routes, but someone that can split the seam, can line him up anywhere, a tricky player with good run after the catch ability. That's what you get from Kenyon Sadiq. Again, I have a second round grade on him. He's not my tight end one, but get him at the back end of the first round. That's a high ceiling player, and the Rams, who has better coaching in the league, maybe the Niners. Rams are great through and through, great coaching. I'm sure he'll flourish, and it's kind of a need there as well. And the final pick, projected to win the Super Bowl based on record, the Denver Broncos. I'm sure they would have loved to have Kenyon Sadiq here. That's kind of why I played a little game with myself that they got it stolen. So You extend your center. You don't really need a center. You don't need a running back. You drafted R.J. Harvey relatively high. I hope he's on here. This is where I'll go Jacob Rodriguez. Uh, People were calling for him to be the Heisman. He has like 8 forced fumbles, multiple interceptions, rushing touchdowns because he was a former quarterback. Jacob Rodriguez is not that flashy athlete, but he's such a fundamental player. Like I said, this is a fundamental draft class. I think he fits the Broncos defensive system pretty well. He'll play all over, whether it's the Mike or an overhang player. Jacob Rodriguez is that fundamental guy. You want him on every team. Pair him up with Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw, and you will have the most unstoppable defense. You'll be able to finally jump the Texans. All right, that's about it. As you can see, every pick is summarized here. Thank you for putting up with this. If anyone watched it through, or you could skip around and just find your team selection. Let me know if I picked the wrong player for your team. Let me know if there's anyone else you want to see in a coming mock draft, or anyone you would like me to break down if you're here from my Twitter. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching this, and see you on the next one. Thank you.